Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hi, wherever it is, wherever you are. Today is 18 of April, Thursday, 18 of April 2024. It's a bit exciting, unusual day for me to do recording during the weekdays, but as usual, if I receive any of my purchases or collection of my banknotes of the day, I need to record it so that I have a proper archive of chronology when I got my so-called collection of banknotes. Today there will be interesting that I have waited for a couple of weeks, months perhaps, since probably after lunar Chinese New Year, after the Chinese Lunar New Year, late February till mid of April. It's almost 1 month or plus so. Yeah, I've been anxious to get my products that I went for the auction. Multiple auction houses that I went to bid online. Then most of that I got it in relatively below the so-called fair market value price, according to uh, the paper money standard catalogs, specific Japanese catalogs, and some of them more specified Japanese catalogs, Malaysian catalogs, and I found a place and finally I got the US currency catalogs. Although it's not in a hard copy like in the book, which is virtually none in my country, for a reference, but I managed to find a PDF, couple of them, and one of them are the standard one that is the red book catalog. So I am able to revise a lot of my banknotes that I bought, and surprisingly, most of the banknotes that is American currency I bought in my local dealers, they are nearly scratching half its value that I bought. So if it's worth $100, I bought less than $50 or sometimes $30, $40 in a very good condition, I would say, at a very good condition. So it is a worth it. As I said previously in the video, previously in my video, I bought cheap because a lot of the dealers don't have the time or doing their research on those US currency and to rate those prices properly. So they just sell it what they bought from another person, and they sell it a slightly higher price, probably about $2 or $3 or $5 or $10 extra into their pockets, but actual value is actually around $100 to $120. Okay, for today, a little side note for the major event on this week. Well, we have an escalation of Middle East situation. Iran retaliated against Israel. Israel finally got a justification to launch a tactical attack on Iran. More specifically, Iran's proxies, such as Hezbollah and blah blah blah. All the so-called, we categorize them as, the Western world would categorize them as terrorist organizations, which is supported by Iran and supplied financially and weapons by Iran. So we might be seeing a outcome of war spreading in Middle East, and no matter how it is, we are going to drag Israel will force America to join the war effort in this tragedy. I, for one, do not support any kind of war unless defense on their sovereign land. So if you ask me, I don't agree with Hamas, but I don't agree Israel attacking and killing civilian discriminately. I don't agree when Iran retaliate. It should show a much more restraint, because Israel tactics is being used. If you ask me personally, the attack on the embassy is a symbolic yet a way to provocate a nation that you want them to escalate into war, and declaring that they started the war. Well, Iran just suck it up and done what it is, what the Israeli wants: retaliation. And if you notice, I will notice that the news does not report. A lot of the social medias didn't report about the bombings of the Iran embassy. Who are they? Why are we not condemning that? Because it's diplomatic situation. You're bombing and attacking an embassy. If they attack a civilian building, probably alright, there is a consideration. But that's such a high profile. But attacking a embassy is already a symbolic gesture of attacking a country, the government, the overall of the nation. News does not report about the bombings or the airstrikes on the Iran embassy in Syria. Now, when Iran took the action, the whole media, social media, was just blabbering about Iran's attack on Israel. And none of them are talking about what about the embassy. So most of the time I put in the social media, and my question is, what about the embassy? What happened to the embassy? Is it nothing anymore? I believe the big media conglomerates do not want to report, do not want the people to question about the Israel attacking the embassy, or whoever attacked the embassy. Most probably is from the airstrike from Israel, and entering to Syria's airspace, which is Syria's sovereign, not Israel's sovereign. So it's already invading Syria. It's like I'm going to my neighbor's house and going to kill his dog. I'm going to kill his guests, just like that, without question, without permission. I'm stepping into your house, so wanted to see your guest and shoot him. Basically, this is something happening. To me, as a simplicity explanation, what happened to the Iran's embassy being bombed, right? Highly motivated by Israel. And Iran attacking Israel is now the media. It's like the embassy did not happen. So I kind of question is, before you ask me about Iran attacking Iran attacking Israel, you tell me what happened to the attack on the embassy, Iran's embassy. You solve that question first. Resolve those questions first about the embassy. Then we'll talk about Iran's so-called retaliation with 200 over drones attack. So that's the week today's media, and of course with this kind of escalation, gold prices, silver prices, platinum prices went up. US dollars just shot up again, strengthened due to the war escalation. A lot of stock market also being halted due to especially oil movement. We will see a lot of economic instability in the coming weeks, I would say. So pretty much that's my opinion for this week or this month, or this video, or the current affairs. Sidetrack off. Next. So again, I got some banknotes. I bought it from an auction, and pretty much it's very, very happy for me and very joyful to get it. So the very first one that I've got, the banknotes, banknote I got is this one, UNC uncirculated embossing is very strong. Even the watermark, actually, I can, from my eye, probably you can't see from the in the video, I could see the watermark straight away without using using the down lights. This one is actually the stars. I got the star type here. Let me just turn off the lights. It's easy to see. Can you see that? I can see it's a star, if you can see it there. Yeah, so you can see here, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's the star watermark. This is actually the star watermark. Star watermark 2 yuan. I was quite skeptic whether this is a replica or not, but eventually it is not a replica. So to me, I think it's considered about uncirculated. Very nice, very clean. I have not seen it. The very first one I had, this one was so-called fair, extremely fine to fine, plus fine. That one, the watermark, is actually a rare one. That one is with the ancient Chinese coin symbol on it. That one is much more valuable and limited to possess, I would say, or to acquire. But yeah, I'm able to get this one for a very good price. If I'm not mistaken, I got this one 250. I think 200 or 250. Market probably will bounce to 600 or 800, depends. But this is the star ones, the watermark star, so it's much more cheaper compared to the ancient coin watermark. Those are more fetching up to 800 to 1,200 ringgit. Of course, I'm saying ringgit. So that's one set here. Actually, I divided them into a few sets based on the auction that I bought. So yeah, the next one is the Japanese yen. This one is the very difficult. Based on my last video that I've talked about, the denomination, 5,000 yen is the second highest denomination in Japan, or the whole world, I would say, just the Japanese currency. But it is a widely used denomination in the country or the local level. 10,000 yen, you see them do use, but they are more often for international usage, because transferring, going overseas with a large sum of money, you need a higher denomination to lighten the load. So the biggest denomination is 10,000 yen. Mostly you, as a tourist or so forth, you will use bigger currency and trade. And the 5,000 are more locally used in the country. Not so particular is this one, is because I got it for the last so-called printing name. This is national printing. The national printing. If you go back to my old my video about talking about all my Japanese collection, I had this one already, everything except for the first generation, the single prefix and double prefix, black color, in what do you call that, okurasho version, the printing called okurasho. Zaimusho, I already have it. I have the brown one, single prefix, and the double prefix, and then and also I had the Zaimusho, and now I have this one. So the only thing that remains in my collection for the 5,000 in this version, this series, if I'm not mistaken, is D series, is the okurasho black one. I already got the okurasho for the brown one, which is single prefix and double prefix. So it's just left the black color, single prefix and double prefix. Of course, the older you go, the more expensive. So the black one, the first prefix and second prefix, were printed during the 1980s. That's right, it was printed in 1980. So it's almost nearly 40 years back. That banknote is almost 40 years back. so it would be difficult to find in a very good condition. I would say this is a very good condition and very reasonable price, I would say. Almost similar price as the current face value of 5,000 yen. So I would say it's about $45. $45 US. I got it. Everything looks fine. It's uncirculated. I haven't seen any dent, scratch, or foxing in the moment. This is my first observation. So yeah, pretty much. Alright, I'll just put this back in here so that I will be easy to catalog. At the moment I just need to catalog this properly. So this is one auction house that I bought from. The next one, which is the same auction house, this is 100 yen. Yes, a lot of banknote collectors will say this is very pretty common. Yeah, it is pretty common, and the price is pretty common too. So, but it's worth it. But it's just that I'm missing this in my collection. This type of 100 yen. Although it has tapes on it, they have tape on it. Probably it was binded with something, but overall the embossing of the note, I think, is still very good. You can't see it well on the camera, but I can see it in my own eye. This embossing here actually penetrating here very nicely. Notes seems to be kept properly, but only damaged at the top, mostly at the top. You can see some ink smears around it, probably there, but I won't consider ink smears as a error. Depends on the quantity that's being produced. If the majority of them have ink smear, they're pretty then their price value does not have meaning for errors. But one disadvantage is this note. Sadly, this note has someone put a tape here. Previous owner or previous user have put tapes, but I don't see anything that is scar. Probably is attaching on something for decoration or something like that. Probably, don't know what's the use, but it's very hard and difficult to find this note in my country, let alone that I have time to go to Japan and find this type of notes, which I know is very common. Is the price, to be honest, in my country is considered uncommon. I won't say rare, it's uncommon, but is difficult to find for a cheap value as it should. So I managed to go to the auction house, and the auction house selling as the reasonable price of $8. So I got it for $8. Put this one here. Never mind. I'll just put it right here. The next one, let me see. The next items that I have bought. Let me categorize. This is another same auction house, but I think it's different time I got this. Yeah. Let me see what I got. I've got a commemorative banknote, the 200 Riyal commemorative banknote of the establishment of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia 100 years. Centennial. It's a celebrate for 100 years. So the note, I would say, probably extremely fine. There's not much stain, but really there is a lot of faults, and there you can, if you can see, there's an ink mark here, stain. There's a lot of fault lines. This is very used, I would say, used, not banknote. But anyway, for its price that I get it, is actually below the face value of the 200 Riyal. So I'm actually fetching in about in ringgit. I know this one in ringgit. I bought it for around 45 ringgit, if I'm not mistaken. really below the the face value price. But for its condition, I think it's super swell price. Currently, 200 rial in Malaysian ringgit is about 210 ringgit. So if I got it for 45 hours and it's still legal tender in Saudi Arabia as 200 rial, is still usable as a common banknote. Yeah, as a commemorative banknote that is still used as a current market, it's a worth value to buy. Next that I got, the next one I got is a US dollar. It's a US dollar, not uncirculated. No, it is folded. It's about probably extremely fine to fine, very fine. For sure, it's around very fine. One of the unique thing that I actually got this one is a bit pricey. I bought it for about 60 ringgit, if I'm not mistaken. I bought it for $15. $15, yeah, 60 ringgit, around 60 ringgit, 60 to 75 ringgit. A bit pricey, but give or take, it is a replacement note. It's a star note for the $2. What's so unique is this note is printed for the 200 years anniversary. This is a 1976 series, basically commemorating the Declaration of Independence in 1776. So it is 200 years, and on the $2 is very symbolic. I would say this is a commemorative banknote, but of course the US in US they don't consider it as a commemorative banknote. It's a normal banknote. Coincidentally, it is printed in 1976 series, but it has a lot of novelty. It has the fun in knowing that this is a note. It was printed in $2, representing 200 years of independence since the signing and Declaration of Independence, the establishing of the United States, to exactly 200 years ago. It's a very great novelty to tell a story of this banknote. And knowing it in bonus is a replacement. So normally, if a banknote is so wear and tear, yeah, it should be worth around $10-12. So I actually over purchased the price for this one by a mark of $3 to $5. But anyway, this is also a very difficult note to get. Most of the notes I go for auction is very difficult to get in my country. So these are all very special to me. They are very special to me because they are very difficult to find in my country. The next one, another same auction but different time bought the auction, would be another Japanese another Japanese one. This one is the difference is because of the serial number, the block number. Sorry, this is 48. Now, according to the Japanese catalogs, the Japanese standard catalog book, which is governed by the Japanese organization, what they have determined is if the block number is 48 and 49, I better make sure it's correct. Hold on. Got to make sure it's my information a bit correct if I have that information. Yep. That's the information of this banknote. As you can see, I've already got both of them. The two difference is the first one is block 35 to 47, and the second block is 48 to 49. This is the last before the end of the war, so the quantity of this block number are much less compared to 35 to 47. Now below 34 banknotes, they are actually much more stronger during that time. They have controlled serial number and the block number here. So this time, that's the time when the Japanese economy was much more stable, much more stronger. They were more on invading other countries. When the war has been turned, when they have to defend themselves, they started to have hyperinflation, economic baggage. Their resources are dwindled. They're losing the war basically. America has pushed them back. One moment. Sorry, where was I? Oh yeah, I had a little bump just now, a little bit with my family. So yeah, come back to that. So there are two block number. So the block number 48 to 49 are quite rare. They're more expensive compared to the normal block 35 to 47. I'm able to find in my local dealer for those on 35 to 47. So I spotted this in the auction online that they had a 48 and 49. So eventually I got it for about $5. Pretty cheap. Pretty lucky I got that one in a very cheap price. The next one is nothing so special about it, but it's very nice to have it for compensation. This is a brand new $50 from Australia. CD18 means it's printed in 2018, so pretty much it's already 6 years old when they introduced this two brand new design note. I think it's very nice and modern, but here's the catch. Everyone in Australia know, probably a lot of the numismatic community know, Australia's $50. During those days, now they have corrected it. They have a spelling mistake on responsibility. They miss out, if I'm not mistaken, they miss out one of the character, one of the letters in the word spelling of the responsibility. I think the I or the L is missing. So it's microprint right here. I don't think you can see, even my naked eye can't see it. It should be here. When they spell responsibility, is a wrong spelling. But the bank in the Royal Bank in Australia, the RBA, decided not to withdraw this error and continue to print until a certain period of time where they have the so-called the plates or expired, not able to use. Then the new plate will be the correction of those banknotes. So the quantity wise of this one is quite a lot in the market. So they don't, this kind of errors is so-called the cheap types of errors you can get, cheap price. In Australia it's still face value, it's not much, but I bought it at an extra $10, so I'm paying in Australia probably about extra $160 to $170. Sorry, ringgit. So $50, about face value price, so it's quite worth the money that I've got it. Okay, that is the auction from that point. I'll move on to the next one on another auction, but I bought it in a different time. So here it goes. This one, uniquely, it came in a very wrong time. I bought this note. I didn't intentionally bought this note. If you look at my previous video, I actually bought this one 10 pieces because of the back number. That was when I bought those notes. I forgot that I already bought one online before that convention that I went 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, yeah, 3 weeks ago, sorry. So I consider this is a waste of my money, because when I was at the convention, each of these notes was selling at a pop of selling around for 5 was selling around 5 ringgit each. I bought this one a whooping 25 ringgit. Whooping 25 ringgit. And the convention I bought 5 ringgit each. And it's a good number. This was just pretty random. So anyway, what is done is done. What is bought is bought. Because the thing is, Syria, I almost a year I had all the denomination except for this denomination, this 2000. And I saw that in the auction. I just said I gotta have it to fill up my collection. Then after I bought it, won the auction, 25 ringgit paid. Yeah, and paid that. But then, how do I say this? Then there is a convention coming in, and then they had a very nice number that I gotta have it, and I bought it at 10 more. And so this one becomes very redundant. Because at that time the Syrian high denomination banknotes like the 1000 and the 3000 Syrian pound, no, the local dealers, they don't have it. I tried access to buy it, they don't have it. So it's very difficult to purchase at a reasonable price. Most of them are quite unrealistically expensive. Some are selling 40 ringgit, 50 ringgit, so no deal for me. I found the auction, I bought it for 25, and then I bought it at a shop from the convention, 5 ringgit each. I bought 10, so it's 50 ringgit each, the whole set with a good running numbers. Anyway, it is as it is, but you know, at least I got the two best part of the world of it, so it would seem. The next one I bought, that one, this one, the gold certificate, $20, gold certificate 1928 series. I have in my back of my mind, I was thinking better cut the loss, don't buy it. But I just gotta have one of these notes. And knowing that it's a $20, it is very rare I see a $20 in the auction and able to succumb to it to purchase it. This is one of my most expensive purchase among all the collection here. Bugger, I bought this one for nearly 800 ringgit. What a shocker. And the value for its condition is 600 to 700 ringgit. I overpaid this for either a good reason or not. I just shocked myself this one. But knowing it, this is my first and my only gold certificate from US currency 1928 in such a condition of fault is considered very fine negative. And the price range is supposed to be 160 to 180 US dollar, and I bought it in the auction for $200. It's overbought by $20. I'm just as shocking as anyone. This is the only note that I bought among all the notes I have here. This is the overpriced. Those are undervalued. This is overpriced. $20. My very first one. I think is very fetching. If I'm not, it's a very fetching note. So I have no regrets on getting this note in my hand, being in my, at least as a thing I can talk to people when showing my collections, when they come as my guests, flipping through pages and see that they never seen, what is this, gold certificate? Is that really a banknote for gold certificate in America? Yeah, there is. In 1928, until the bloody Nixon changed the currency into fiat and the gold stopped being existing. What a waste. The next one is the US dollar, what big bill, the big bill, $1 silver certificate 1923 F plate number. There's nothing to be so surprised and shocked about. Is the F plate number. It's irrelevant in the numismatic world community, of to say it is rare or not. But it is 1928, $1 certificate bill. This is the big Dykes one, signed by Spillman and White. So it's still one of those old collections, but the notes is quite bad. What can I say? This kind of notes, for those the age and time of the usage in 1923 as a certificate, especially the big note size, they will tend to have something like this folded. It's very difficult to find this in a clean condition, unfolded, unmolested, I would say, and that will fetch $1,000 overhead. So no, this one is pretty much within my budget, about $30. And next one, pretty much the last of the $1 US currency I got from the auction, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, this $1 humble. So from this size, from the big bill, they changed to a smaller bill to cut costs. And this one is the series 1928A. So it's a transition from here to here. This is the A series. They have decided to change. So from here, it becomes here. Voila. But of course, they have a smaller bill size, 1928 series, small bill. This is normal big bill series for big one. They have a smaller one in 1928 series. This is a second print of a smaller scale, small bills, as what they say. This is a simplified design, and you can see that they can see the marking, the margin here. The center line margin is here, is to indicate the notes printing is in the center, and on the side it will be printed that way, so reduce the error and probably the cutting. But yeah, I was just in debacle on this, on whether this is common in all the series on these notes to see something like this, because this is too close. Of course, if in the modern notes, if you see something like this margin, is considered as a unique error note. But probably on those days they need this because it's still more using human to detect, to check the quality, and to cut the paper using human eye. So they have to use this to target the print and alignment of the printing. So probably this is not an error or additional bonus. It's probably common. It's probably very common. Another note name of this one, in American they like to fancy to name any of their notes something. This is called, what did they call this? The funny back. It looks like a play money, like a monopoly money. Like big ones here like that, and the small fonts of $1. It looks like a funny bag. So yeah, and with the big one here, it looks like play money, but it's actual money, actual silver certificate of $1 value. And this is this type of version, and this type of version is also my very first. That is why I purchased it in the online bidding. But anyway, I bid things that is worth the value, under the value, except this one, this notorious $20 gold certificate. I overbought it, which is my loss. This is my loss. The other rest is quite bonus. This is my loss. Okay, the next note that we're going in to look at, is I bought it as a lot. Somebody sell it as a lot. That's not uncirculated. I haven't seen it. It's the first time looking at this. Wow. Is the Russian ruble note 1995 series. There's a 50,000 ruble, 10,000 ruble, 5,000 ruble, and 1,000 ruble. Now for 1,000 rubles and the 50,000 rubles, I've already have it. So why am I buying a repeat? problem is I just need to buy something very cheap price to get these two. These two are quite difficult to find for this denomination in a very reasonable condition. Most of you guys see this one is very difficult to get, 5,000 rubles. Of course now they're using this, if I'm not mistaken, as 5 rubles. If I'm not mistaken, the new moderners they're using as 5 rubles. This is a 5,000 ruble when the Russia Federation started to have inflation in 1995 after the recent years of the collapse of the Soviet Union. So they have hyperinflation. They printed this note. So this note's relatively quite used. I would say very fine condition to it, in my view, but the embossing is quite good. Probably at the plus side or near negative extremely fine. Negative extremely fine. But this is a very difficult note to get. Most of the time I see in eBay they're selling quite expensive, about 100 ringgit over. But I got this whole lot just for $20, which is 100 ringgit, around 80 ringgit. So I've already got bonus on that and this too. So that's why I decided to bid and won it according to the budget that I think is meaningful to me. 10,000 is another one very difficult to get, but this 10,000 is quite dull color. I think it should be a little bit brighter color if it's uncirculated, but it's supposed, I mean, it's become dull, the color. I really don't like this kind of color design here, but anyway, at least I fill up my collection, the 10,000 and the 5,000 in my collection, and extra 1,000 and 50,000 I have. 50,000 is relatively extremely fine. The 1,000 is about uncirculated. There's no fault. Very slight foxing on the side. The manhandle, there's a little bit manhandle, a little bit chip fault here. But anyway, this 1,000 ruble is considered about uncirculated. It could fetch about, if I'm not mistaken, probably about 30-40 ringgit if I'm willing to sell it. So yeah, probably I'm just gonna give it as a gift for remembering the Russia's hyperinflation. For this series in 1995, I would be missing, I have 50,000. So in the next venture I'm looking for, if within the reasonable price, is 100,000 ruble and 500,000 ruble for this series. Then I've completed the series for 1995. Anyway, the 100,000 ruble, I think I still can get it for 40-60 ringgit, but the 500,000, due to the limited print of that banknote, the highest denomination during the hyperinflation, the price of that banknote is fetching around 1,000 over ringgit. So it is at the moment beyond my level of possession of that banknote. But knowing that I have able to buy the lot of this just to fill up 2 of my missing sets, I'm already quite happy about it and satisfied this to pay for what it is being auctioned out. So yeah, I'm pretty much happy about this notes. Okay, what's next? Second last batch of the note that I bought, also to fill up my collection. Actually, is actually from Republic. If I'm mistaken, is Croatia. Yes. Some of you would know these are all very common notes, cheap notes. You can get this for about what, 10 ringgit, 5 ringgit. Some of them you can get it for 2 ringgit. These are very cheap. Now, I will tell you which one is cheap. This one is very common. You can get it anywhere. Okay, it's running number also. Wow, fantastic. These are cheap common. These are also common. And then The 100 is also a bit slightly common. And there we stop the ballpark. This is difficult to get. 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 This is easy to get. This is easy to get. So the main target that I have bought this banknote is actually these denominations, which is wherever I go in the local store, they have a lot of these common ones like the 1, the 5, the 25, the 100, the 50, the 100,000, and the 50,000 dinara, or in more proper way to say is dinari. These denominations, they are in the market like a floodgate. So if you find any Croatia, these are the notes you will find in Croatia notes. Other than these notes, they're quite expensive, they're quite valuable because they're hard to get. But beyond that is in between. The highest and the smallest denomination are quite easy to get, but these in between are difficult to get. In eBay, it's just that you need to find a source, a very small niche market that sells this. eBay, there is people selling this. On the eBay, there are people selling this denomination, but rigorously they put the price like $20, $30. They're quite high, and I got this as a whole lot in auction for a set for mere $10. You hear me? $10 US. Sorry, excuse me. $10. My main target is the 10,000 denarii, the 5,000 denarii, the 20,000 denarii, the 1,000 denarii quite bad, and the 500 denarii very badly conditioned, I would say, but not as bad because the colors is still there. The white part is yellowish, that stains, mark, fold, multiple fold, but there's no significant tear, just a slightly chip scar, I would say. Excuse me. It's a bit slight tear, but anyway, this is very used banknote. You can see it's hugely severely stained. So, excuse me. So yeah, it's very difficult to find this denomination uncirculated at a reasonable price compared to this one. Basically, this 100,000, the highest denomination, can't even match the price for all this individually. This is already probably about 60 ringgit. This is probably about 50, or this is probably 45 or 50 ringgit. They can't match this. Even this one probably will match this at 10 to 10, because these are so much 10 to 10. Even this 500 can match this by the value of it, even in this condition. It's the 100,000 is so common, and it's so common to get it uncirculated. It's just badly supplied compared to the smaller denomination like these. So my target wasn't to get this. My target was to get this to fill my collection, because I already have this kind of denarii denomination. I just don't have the 500, the 1,000, the 2,000, the 5,000, and the 10,000. Now I have it in my collection, so they are in emotion. I would say this series for Croatia, I can close the door because I've already had all the denomination for this series. Now, as a collector, I have a very bad habit to collect. Once I start collecting one specific series, I've got to collect the entire set of denomination of that series. That is just plainly my habit. But the problem with that habit, certain countries' banknotes, wink wink, is very expensive. And sometimes, if that is the case, I would push it aside and change my strategy for specifically on this country, not to collect all the set of those series, but collect samples of each series of the year they print. At least I have a story from the beginning to the end at the shallow level. rather than having a one chapter entire from smallest to the biggest denomination complete. I would like to do that. Once I complete that, I move into the next chapter and complete one chapter and complete the next one until to the beginning. So I have a full set from beginning of the story to the end of the story for all the denominations. That is my habit. That is my strategy in collection and how I target which would be my search to narrow down my search. But for countries like this, wink wink, I would find another strategy specifically just to spread out across the history. Having known that the United States itself have more than 200 years of history, their banknotes are stretched out beyond those times. Until today, for United States banknotes, among all the banknotes, I still consider this one my favorite. The one silver certificate, one silver dollar. The educational series is so beautiful. I like this kind of banknote. The back of the portrait is telling the first president of the United States and the first lady of the United States, Margaret Washington and George Washington, side by side, left and right. To me, this is still the most beautiful, and it's still for such a condition, fine, around fine condition. It's still worth a lot of money. It's still worth more than thousands of ringgits, I would say. This note. So yeah. So that is the collection for Croatia. Back of it, this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is considered the mother of. There's a historic pattern. I think they consider this the mother of the country or whatever it is. I just don't want to butcher it. But yeah, the 10,000, the 5,000, the 2,000, they have this one. Whilst the 1,000 and below denomination, they have the church. I'm not too sure what is the significance of this church. Maybe you can enlighten me on that one. But most of the time, I will try and find out what are the significance of this notes backgrounds are. But anyway, Croatia. That's the only ones that I have in my collection. So now I have completed this chapter. Probably I'll move on to the next chapter, but needless to say, I probably won't at the moment. This is the only Croatia series I have, and I've completed. I have no other Croatia banknotes, although I could get them for a very good price, but I try not to, because once I start one cheap one, I have to get all the way to the top. It's going to be painful for me to get to the top. So okay. Last and not least, banknote that I got it from the auction house out of the blue is if I'm not mistaken, this is the Farmer Bank of China. The Farmers Bank of China, correct, as it is in English here. 10 cent, literally just 10 cent, 1937. I have few of the bigger denomination like the 10, the 5 yuan. So of course the smaller denomination is pretty hard to find in a very good condition. This is quite fair condition. There is actually uncirculated, but the price jumped during the bidding is too high for me. So I got the extremely fine version, which is okay. It's still below the market price. I got it for $20, $18, sorry, $18 for this one. So it's relatively in a good price tag for me to have this. I like the Farmers Bank actually, because what the design of the landscape, the portrait, sorry, the landscape and the portraits are very beautiful. Yeah, and the higher denomination, they have actually a lot of those detailed farmers. They had the cows. When the engraving of the buffaloes and the cows were very good in detail. I actually like it. It's not very childish. It's very beautiful in its essence and itself. So Yeah, nothing much to talk about this one. It's just 10 cent. Pretty hard to find. I wouldn't say it's difficult to find in Malaysia, but I noticed that they're overpriced. I love it selling these notes in my local dealers. They're overpriced. I don't feel like it would, because I look at the catalog and then when I look at this, I can spare the moment that they can charge me that condition and plus 20% of the book's value, 20% plus or minus. But they're selling more than that percentage. It's nearly double. I think they don't realize what is the market value of those banknotes, and especially in the world market value. So that is why the world market value say that this is still cheap. It's still a very reasonable price. It's not expensive. It's inexpensive piece. But sometimes if the locals are selling, every one of them, the locals are selling so expensive, even worse than this condition, it's not worth it. That is why I decided to get this one from the online bidding, which is the houses, the auction houses reside in Europe. So I'm paying in euros actually. 18 euros. That's pretty much that price. Yeah, the ballpark. 18 euros, and I also pay tax, VAT onto that. So I'm actually paying a little bit more extra on this banknotes, but yet compared to what I can get and based on the book, most of these are still on par or overvalued, except this one. This notorious $20 is my notoriously overvalued. I pay it more than what is the supposed is value worth. It's more than 20% actually. It breaks my heart to actually buy this, but at least I can consider it sideline that at least this is my very first the gold certificate. $20. Actually, tomorrow there is an auction online for the $10 for 1928. $10, better condition than this one. So, but I look at the price now. The bidding is already at 110 euros. So I am not hesitant to actually get it. Some other time when my pockets is a little bit more flexible, then probably I would pursue that note once again if there are any out there in the in the auction. The auction is a dream house to me. You Every auction is unique. You get it or you don't get it. That's all. Some, if you are lucky enough, there are sellers are willing to sell that kind of note, especially like this one. I was tempted to buy this one in eBay, and they're selling a fetching more than 5,000, 6,000 ringgit. But I managed to find one auction house. Someone is actually selling this. Not a very good condition, but for its condition is very good actually. For its condition itself, ranking among all those the same rank and grade, this note is still very beautiful. Because on its same level of this grade, most of the backgrounds and the books that you read, the Constitution of the United States that you can read here is unreadable. You can't see this details. Well, I actually can see the details and I still can read this. So the condition is pretty darn good actually. I won't say it is very fine, probably fine plus to as my justification. But yeah, I got this one for about if I'm not mistaken, 1,200 ringgit. Yeah, I swallow my pride. It's one of my most expensive note. I bought it on the online bidding. 1,200 ringgit. Market value price right now is about 1,500 to 2,000 ringgit. But if I buy it eBay, it's even worse. If that time when this is not in the auction house, that is somebody is actually auctioning this, I would have bought from eBay for about 4,000 to 5,000 ringgit in an instant, because I actually love this note. The design of it, the size of it, the portion of it is beautiful, perfect for me. I would say for a collector, this is a perfect example for me. It is a very nice note. Yeah. Anyway, so that is all I've got that I bought from the auction house. So most of the notes are quite nice, quite uh, good, especially this one, this 2 yuan. I worth it. Some of the centenary I've got, some of those commemorative I've got, some of the common errors I've got, some of the notes that I don't have. This free, and this one $20 somewhere just to finally fill up my collections and so forth, gaps, everything. Every time I buy, try to achieve of getting something, it has to be a purpose for it. So a lot of here has my purpose in my collection. So pretty done well for about my bidding since January till end of March. And of course, there's one note actually is missing, which is the Africa campaign note, $10, $10 African campaign note, or we will call it the yellow seal. This is orange seal. The yellow seal banknotes is used for the Africa campaign. The Hawaiian banknotes they use for during the World War II. They use brown color. So these two, the Africa campaign notes, banknotes, and the Pacific Hawaii banknotes, they are pretty limited and rare. I actually got one of those, but I have some questions whether the genuinity of the note itself. So I've been arguing the auction house before even winning the note. I've been telling them that I looking at the photos of the notes that they put up. It seems to be not what it seems. I find that they actually remove the A, some of the lettering words in the banknote to make it rare. Actually, there are two variations, but they're very easy to so-called counterfeit the notes. So the common ones can transform into the rare ones is pretty darn crazy. And I suspect that note was done that way because based on the plate number, the articles from US collectors, they have done their studies and research. Those notes 1938 should be rare and mule. If I'm not mistaken, they'll say it's a mule note. It has to be a mule note, not a regular note. And the common notes are for the $10 or the Africa campaign one is 1938 A series, which had printed millions and millions of it. So they're worth their value quite about, let's say, $10 in the good condition, and probably about $200 US dollars or $250 US dollars for about uncirculated, I would say. But for the ones that is printed in 1938 without the A series, similar condition, can fetch up to $8,000 to $10,000. You talk about four figures. So it is very prone for people to entice to forge or alter the 1938A to become 1938. So I suspect that note that I have bid have that situation. So it's supposed to come together with the notes that I bought this one in this auction house, but I told them that leave that out. They gave an option. So they're willing to send it to authenticate by PMG. So they actually took it out and they sent it to PMG to be graded at their cost. Of course, at the moment is they are paying it. If the note comes back altered or forged as what I've explained to them, which is not in accordance to their description, then they would return my funds. They will send the note to me and they will refund my money for the auction, including the the airfares, so I do not need to pay for the grading. But if it is really 1934 banknote, if it's really 1934 and is graded as yes, is genuine 1934 Africa Campaign $10 silver certificate note, yes, I have in possession of a product that is already 2,000 US dollar by instant. It can go up to 3,000, can go up 4,000, depends on the market value for its condition, of course. So, but I put roughly that $2,000, and I only paid for about $38 for that note. Plus, if it's genuine, PMG graded as genuine, then I have to pay for the services of the PMG, which is about $60, 60 euros, plus 38 euros. So that note I have to pay for about 100 euros, which is about 500 to 550 ringgit. But if I receive that note, well, in the instant, it's already way valuable than that, because I only paid 25% of the total market value of that note. 500 ringgit expenditure profit me about 1,500 ringgit, because the note minimum add value 2,000 if it's genuine. If not, I'm gonna get that note back. I'm gonna get that note that I won. It's gonna say altered or not genuine and fully refunded. So either way, it's a win-win situation for me. If it is a win on the good, happy side, or win at a sad side, but disappointed side, yes. So that note that is supposed to be together in this auction did not deliver to me, because they sent it there, and it will take to PMG. It will take about 3 to 4 months. Once they're graded in the US, they'll be brought back to, if I'm not too sure whether they're graded in the United States or they're graded in London, in Germany. There is another office PMG in Germany, so I don't know whether they're going to go there. If it's Germany, it's probably even faster, probably 2 months or 3 months. The grading will be completed. But if they're going to the United States, probably will go to 3 to 4 months. So I have to wait till the time in the summer, midsummer, probably in June, July, I will have the answer. And by then, if it's genuine, yay. If it's not, but at least I get a free note. At least I got a free note. Can say it's an altered free note. Somebody altered the free that $10 to become a expensive one, but actually it's not. But anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you very much for your time. Again, a disclaimer, this video is just for my own purposes, for my recording of my journey and also my collection records, so that I could remind myself in the future what I bought today as per the chronology recites on the video, and also to share with everyone, so that everyone can get inspired or can realize something or learn something or see something new that they haven't seen before in the numismatic collection, especially banknotes. At least share to me is sharing is caring. If you have comments, you think that I'm wrong or something I said wrong, please enlighten me. I'm open-minded. I want to hear your part about the notes, if you think that it is right or wrong. But anyway, that's all for today, and hopefully I will see you guys. You hear me probably in a couple of days or weeks perhaps. Until then, if there's no new notes, that's it for me today. Bye.